Hello and welcome back to my Retro City Rampage Clone in Unity tutorial. Today, basically, we're going to be doing building interiors, and we'll be trying sort of organising the episodes a bit differently. And rather than just me talking for 20 straight minutes, I'll divide it into sections to see how that works. So yeah. So first off, a demonstration of what we're doing today. It's pretty simple, just so I could test out this new format. Walk into that doorway. Hey presto, we are in a building interior. And if we walk out again, hopefully, no. Okay, it didn't want to play nice, but if we do it again, go out again, and it starts spawning civilians and stuff, as you can see there. And there's a train here, so yeah, so basically I'm going to now go on to, I believe it's the theory of how this is going to work, and then I'll show you the code and stuff, and you can see there, do it again, and it works better the second time, but whatever. Yeah, see you in a minute. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the theory behind how the doors and going to interiors works. So basically, we got so think of that as the street. Well, it could be a bit straighter, but whatever. Say this is the door that we walk through, and this is just a building. Yeah. So this is basically, I'll stop that. That building there. And where's Kim? There we go. And basically what it does is there is a trigger, which is basically just on a collider, which is on the door here. So basically what that does is when the player steps into this trigger, so on trigger enter 2D, because it's 2D physics, it will move the player's transform to another position, which is where you put the interior, which I'm just going to represent with this, which will be basically away from all the other chunks and stuff in the world map, just so it doesn't fuck it up at all. So yeah, there'll just be a separate thing here, so the player will land here, from here, and basically we'll just be able to roam about the interior and stuff. And as well, this interior will have a similar trigger at the entrance that the player doesn't spawn on, because that just send it back and forth to send it back to in front of this door here. Yeah, so basically the player walks into the trigger, they get teleported, and that's about it. Now there is one issue that we'll have to take into account. Oh, there's two actually, which I'll mention. One is that on trigger enter, basically, if we don't do something to counteract it, it'll take us from the door in the street to the interior. But if we land in the trigger, because of on trigger enter working on the first frame that a collision is detected with the trigger, it'll just teleport us right back, and then we'll keep going to and fro, with no real progress. So we got to take that into account, which I've addressed in the script. And the other is NPC spawning, because we're not going to have a chunk loaded because we're too far away from the chunk. But what happens to the civ spawner? Because the civ spawner will still be trying to spawn civs, and it won't be able to find a point. So that's something else we've got to take into account when we're programming. So yeah, now I will show you the code, I think, or the assembly or something. Okay, so here's the code for the teleporting between interiors and the overworld. It's pretty simple. Just basically you've got a public transform, which is basically going to be where the player is going to be teleported to. And we've got two static variables, so a boolean for just teleported, and a float for just teleport, a timer that counts down, basically. These are static, so if you don't know what static means, it means they'll be the same throughout every instance of the building teleport script in the game. So if it's been set, just teleported has been set true for one instance of the script, it'll be true for all of them. And I'll get to why that needs to be in a minute. So basically, we've got if we've just teleported, it'll count down and then set just teleported to false. And yeah, and then reset the timer. So this is basically just a timer saying if we've just teleported, it'll count down for half a second and then make sure that we can't then reset it all so we can teleport. And this is because once the player teleports between it to an interior or from an interior, this will allow us a half a second window. Sorry, train. It'll allow us a half a second window where we can't teleport, which in terms of gameplay is irrelevant because it won't really matter. But in terms of like the physics, that first on trigger enter 2D will happen within that half a second. So it won't teleport us if just teleported is true. Which basically allows us to just teleport out without like being flung to and from the different teleporting positions. Which just makes sure it isn't glitchy and is a good way to fix it. I don't think I've got anything changed on here. I don't know why it was open. Oh yeah, I was playing about with the minimap, which you may have seen, which will be next episode. Sorry. And the second fix I had was for what I mentioned with the NPCs trying to spawn. So as I said, it would despawn all the points that they'd want to go to because they are stored within the chunks. If I can just show you. Chunk. Yeah, so see the patrol points that the civilians move between is here, and they won't be able to go between them, so that'd be bad. So basically, what we do is, if we can't we've added a new if statement to it, but basically, if we can't get a point to move to, we won't spawn an NPC. Instead, we'll just check to see if we can find any points to spawn them at. And basically, yeah, and then it does tricks. And every time we do that, if we can't find a point, we'll just see, all right, can we find more points for the next time we go around? And that's basically how it works and doesn't really cause a bug, which is good. All right, so on to art, I believe. All right, so now I'm going to show you the art, basically, of the interiors. Basically, this is just an example of how the sprite sheet works. Basically, we've got a number of sprites. So if I just show you the building here, you can do a comparison. So we can see we've got like window sprites here and here, just like normal wall sprites and door sprites. One thing I had to do with these is actually just I had to make it a bit bigger, just because it wasn't really in scale with the player as I thought it would be when I originally made it, but whatever. And basically, you need both. There's not actually much to say about the art, but you need both like these smaller bits for walls. So, say in the interior, because of how like the camera in Retro City Rampage is kind of like sort of like a 45-degree angle to the player. So, like, say, all these three walls would appear like flat, but then the furthest wall from you would appear like full, like the wall would be. You need that basically, and it helps from a gameplay perspective of not fucking up the player's view. So yeah, and then we've got the floor tile, the roof tile, and you could just mix and match with these with pretty much anyway. So you could use these as the floor or the brick as the floor or whatever. I'm not a cop. Do what you want. I was just showing how I did it. So yeah, that was the art, and now onto the assembly. Alright, and now I'll be showing you how all the things were assembled in the in-game world, or the editor is what I should say. So first off, we will be using the Tile Master from CM Tools, which I showed you on the asset store a couple of episodes ago, to assemble the building interiors and exteriors. So we're just going to do a quick and dirty here. So say we've got bricks. I'll just name this outside. So we want window here, window here, window here, window here, window here. Looks ugly, but whatever. And then we can make the building have a roof. So there. And now we've got this, which we'll have to replace in the world, but whatever. And now onto the interior. So we're going to have what layer? Floor. So basically we're going to want to draw just basically a floor for the interior of the building. Try and keep it sort of proportional, but you don't have to. Yeah, so now we can add a layer for the interior walls. So basically we've got the side walls here. We've got the bottom wall, and don't forget to add like a gap just for the teleporting to enter and exit. And then we start by using the outside walls again, which we used here, just to do the final bit of the back wall that the player will be able to see because of how the camera works. Right, now, once we're done with that, we can close Tile Master because we've got our interior and exterior. You might want to do these on two separate Time Master fields, but you don't have to. I am not the boss of you. And it's still working, but whatever. Testing. Yeah, and oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, so that was the assembly. And now Tile Master. Yeah, I'll just get rid of that. Oh, for fuck. Yeah, Tile Master is a bit glitchy, but I think if I press play and then stop, it should start working again. Yep, and I can get rid of you because I don't need you. So now, building test exterior. Here's the exterior. This is basically just the Tile Master field I imported. I did build mine on two separate ones just for ease of making prefabs of it. What we have is we have the two layers. So we have basically the bit above street level, which has a collider on it, as you can see there. So basically the player's max height will be at that first layer of brick, and then above it it can't move because it's a building, it can't scale it, it's not Spider-Man. Then the street level bit is just the bits down here, so there's less of them. And we also have the interior, which basically has, I think it has colliders. Did I put them on here? Sure, I put them somewhere. No. Hold on, I'll just try and find it, sorry. Yeah, that's where I put them. That's where I put them. And colliders, I should probably have that on the building interior, because it is to do with the interior. So yeah, these are basically just marking out the edges of the building for you. And also the A-star pathfinding will follow you into the interior, so if you want to like spawn NPCs in here or something, you can, if you so desire. And yeah, and as for the teleporting setup, and there's another train coming. So we've basically got on the door here, we have transform to the other teleport. It's basically two teleports in the scene. There you go. Alright, so as you can see, this teleport goes to building teleport 1, which if we go to that is basically just there, that's the trigger for it. And that one has basically just goes back to building teleport, which leads to the outside of the building. So yeah, that was the assembly. Okay, so that was all the stuff we had to do. I hope you found it informative, or at least somewhat helpful and not shit, and enjoyed the new format that I'm trying. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and remember, we did building interiors and exteriors this time. If you're just checking at the end for what we actually accomplished. So yeah, we can now go into and from in and out of buildings and not have glitches with the civilians, which is good. Anything else? Yeah, go play Loud or Quiet. Go download the Hotline Miami assets. And if you are new here, I tried making a zombie survival game in 5 days, which is now up on HEO, and there's videos to basically just show you it if you want to see it and whatnot. And yeah, if you are so inclined, go watch it. So yeah, bye.